What's up, everybody? This is Frank from the Ordinary Guy Show. I'm doing my first Ordinary Guy review, and today it's going to be on the Altra Torin 3.5 knit running shoes. So bear with me, because first review, it's going to suck, just like most of the other stuff that the Ordinary Guys do. But I've had a lot of people ask me about running, picking shoes and whatnot, so I'm going to try to keep this as just an exclusive, just this shoe review, and I'll do some other stuff later about comparisons and whatnot. But so, you know, most people know me from the Ordinary Guy Show, some people know me from my own personal stuff, but whatever the case is, this is going to be on all the platforms so that everybody can see it. So the first thing I want to do first is tell you just a really quick overview on the brand. I don't want this to be a brand review because there are several great brands out there that do make a good running shoe, and I'm not trying to steer anybody in a specific direction, just telling everybody kind of what works for me. And what makes Altra very popular is their zero drop, which means there isn't going to be any sort of you drop from the heel to the toe. So essentially you're getting a very flat feel, which some people say is more natural, like a barefoot type of a feel. So I was very hesitant about picking these up to begin with, and the reason being is that I've never run in a shoe that had such a high stack, and that's going to be the cushion basically between the bottom of your foot and the ground. And I want to say that the stack on this is going to be around 28 millimeters. If I'm not mistaken. So again, zero drop, 28 millimeters. It's a lot thicker than what I was used to. And the second thing that it took to get used to again was the zero drop. This would be the first time I ever wore a zero drop shoe. Another thing that makes Altra popular is their wide toe box, and that allows for the natural splay or spread of your toes. I found that to be a lot more comfortable than I thought it would be from the beginning. So anyway, so these shoes here have about 200 plus miles on them. I wanted to do a longer shoe test because I did read some reviews on these, and there were some knocks around the 50-mile mark. So I wanted to see if there's any like continual breakdown on the sole. So anyway, I'm gonna post a couple pictures of these brand new within this review here. Probably be somewhere on the side. I don't know. We got to figure out the editing. But one of the things I really like here that you're not going to get from a lot of shoe is there's actually a lot of foamed ground contact, which gives a very good feel for the ground that I wouldn't have expected with such a thick shoe base here. You can see, you know, where I tend to wear my shoes a little bit more on the inside of the heels, and a little bit more on the inside of the toe. So I do have a little bit of a correction that I need to make in my running, but regardless, anyway. So one of the things that I was concerned about again was speed coming off of a shoe that had a much lower stack, almost feel like it had better ground contact. Was not the case with the Torin Knit 3.5s. And I was very impressed with the ground feel and the responsiveness. So, you know, based on that, I mean, I'm not going to give it the same kind of a rating that you would give a speed shoe by any means. But as far as a training shoe, something that you wanted to work on building speed up to, I don't see why you can't do that in here. Haven't been running for, you know, a ridiculously long time, but I did set my PR for single mile, 5K, and 10K all on these shoes, and those are all going to be faster runs. I've also run a few half marathons in these shoes and didn't feel that kind of leg fatigue that I did with a typical, you know, lesser cushion shoe. So as far as most of the shoes that are out there, this is probably going to be maybe like a 7 on the cushion or the comfort amount. And that's going to be, I'm going across all platforms, speed shoes, your longer endurance type of shoe. I'm going to give that probably like a 7, because like I said, the cushion was really good. And, you know, the other thing too is the upper being the knit, ridiculously comfortable. I personally don't like a really tight shoe. I tend to keep it just a little snug right here, and then just a little snug up around the ankle, and that's just so I don't have any slide out The heel lock was really, really good on these, so I was very, very happy with these. The downside to that sole, or to the upper, is going to be that once it gets wet, it doesn't dry very quickly, and that's been common that I've seen on most reviews. And what you will see here, especially if you're looking at, you know, my shoe, is, you know, it gets wet, it flexes a little bit, and you're going to get kind of like a natural, you know, break in on the shoe right there. So it's not going to look, you know, like the brand new shoe did when it first came in. But obviously, you know, it's not, you know, they're not meant to last forever. Another thing I wanted to talk about too was mileage. So, you know, I'm a heavier guy. I'm about 6 feet and close to 200 pounds. So I really put a beating on my shoes when I run, and, you know, it would be nice to not have to drop 135 bucks, which is the price of the shoe, you know, every 200 miles. You know, I'd like to get a heck of a lot more out of that. So that's why I definitely put as many miles as I did on these before giving the review. So I did notice though that was at around 50 miles is when a lot of people said that there started to be some sort of breakdown on the materials inside. And as I'm sliding my hand through the shoe, I can actually feel my foot imprint here. I tended to not notice that until around 70 miles, between 70 and 80 miles. And it wasn't bad, but I also think that water had something to do with it. They got a little wet while running, and I feel like the wet shoe plus the impact of my foot kind of started, you know, making like that natural foot shape. However, I tend to like the foot shape, which is why I was able to stretch these out for a lot longer. I still use them. I'm still going to use them. Although you know, spoiler alert, I did order another pair that I wanted to check out. Same the Torins, but I ordered the Knit as well, thinking that they might be a little bit better with water. However, I'm going to use these all the time. These are my go-to, just, you know, training anywhere. Recently, it's been anywhere up to about 10 miles. I'll wear these completely comfortable. No questions asked. I'm not going to grab any other shoe. So, you know, again, first review, so I'm not sure what everybody wants to know. I'm not a tight lacer, like I said, so I tend to be able to just slide these on, which is another thing that I really like is the shoelaces. Most running shoes have long shoelaces. That's just how it is, and the reason is so you can give it a good double knot. You're not going to worry about them coming untied while you're running. No complaints on, you know, the lacing system. Everything seems to be fine. I like the flat laces, and you know, the flat groove laces, they lock in pretty well. Again, haven't had any untie issues, haven't had any issues with, you know, fraying or breaking. Everything seems to be fine. I've taken these off-road, so I've run you know, grass, trail runs, pavement, sidewalk, clay. I tried to give these things all-around test. I felt great with these off-road. They're obviously not going to be able to handle, you know, I would say like longer durations of gravelly climbing and whatnot, and that's just because there's not a whole lot of meat to grab, you know, rough surfaces and whatnot. No issues with wet surfaces. The grip seems to have been well. You know, so if you're out there and you're thinking, I want you know, a very light, natural, comfortable shoe, I would go with this, you know, 9 out of 10 times, unless there's something else that you could bring to me that I think is going to be better. Have not tried any of the previous models, so I can't tell you whether or not you can get an older, cheaper model that's going to be better, but you know, these are probably going to be older here soon, and you know, once the price drops on these, I'm probably going to pick up a few pairs, and that's just, you know, my honest opinion on them. The tongue, great, flexible, knit material, just like the rest of the shoe, and I mean, for the most part, I mean that's gonna be it. I love these. I think they're a great first-time runner shoe. However, most first-time runners are going to get drawn into some of the major brands, and that's just going to be because that's what everybody's using. So switching to a zero drop, definitely you're going to feel it. I felt it in my calves tremendously the first week or so. in the package that they include almost like a how to ease yourself into a zero drop, which I think is a great thing for them to do. It definitely helped a lot. They do recommend you alternating your current shoes with the new shoes while you're doing that. But after switching to the zero drop, I actually went back to another shoe, and I didn't like it. I didn't like the feeling. It actually kind of hurt the front of my calf muscle, wrapping around towards the shin there. Definitely wasn't a good feeling, and I went right back. Some of the draws I do hear though, that if you're a heel striker, some of the zero drops are going to affect you a little bit more. Probably not 100% recommended. I'm more of a midfoot striker, so I tend to avoid the heel for the most part. You do see that I drag my heel though when I get tired. Other than that, I mean, there's not a whole lot more. I think the price point's going to be somewhere around $135. Maybe you can find a deal. I got 200 miles, and I'll probably get another 100 or so before I start turning these into my weekend walking shoes and whatnot. I do think that they'll definitely hold up because the materials are actually still intact. Everything's good. I just get a little bit concerned about the breakdown in the midfoot area. Heel, again, heel locks in perfectly fine, really good, no tears. I do recommend though that if you do try these, I do personally recommend somewhat of a compression-ish sock, just a little bit thicker on the padding. The reason being is that open toe box here, if you're wearing some of those really thin shoes, your toes tend to slide around just a little tiny bit, which could cause a little bit of, not blistering, but a little bit of rubbing on the bottom of your toes. That might not be the most comfortable. But the best way to try it out is use, maybe 2 different types of socks and give it a shot. But I've noticed that, my best experience with these were a compression type of sock that had just a little bit of padding at the bottom, and it was like running on clouds with these things. So I really do appreciate the shoe. Other than that, not a whole lot. Color combinations are limited. I think there's only going to be 2 or 3 color combos. I always go for a darker neon, it's just kind of my thing, or a solid black. They do have a solid black with gray that I think is really, really nice. So that's it. Stay tuned. The next one I'm going to be reviewing is probably the Paradigm. Paradigm is going to be one step up on the cushion level. I don't have the stack information right in front of me, but it's definitely their most cushion road running shoe. Which with most Altras, another thing I like about the brand is they're designed to run anywhere. You could take them off-road, really, really cool. But I'm definitely going to give a separate review on that, and then I do want to maybe give a comparison on, which shoe I would take. Spoiler alert that if you are watching this, this is the shoe. As of right now, this is the shoe that I would take over the Paradigms. Haven't tried the knits yet, but coming off of Ons, using the Cloud Flyer as well as the Cloud Flows. Again, different shoes altogether, but right now this is my go-to trainer, and the rest of those shoes are kind of sitting up in my closet at the moment. But anyway, thank you guys. I appreciate you checking this out. I hope it helps if you're in the market for some new shoes. Definitely pick up a pair. At this point though, if you have the money and you do like the pair, I would order your second pair relatively soon, and that's so that you can alternate them and avoid running around with swampy feet and whatnot. All right guys, take it easy.